Welcome to Mojo Talks, where we explore the world through stories. I'm Mayur Channagere, visual storyteller and your host. Today, we are going to dive into a topic that is close to my heart. When your hobby becomes a full-time profession, how to unwind. Making that leap from a hobbyist to a professional can be incredibly rewarding. I did that 14 years ago when I quit my corporate job to pursue photography. And when you make this move, it also brings its own set of challenges. And here are a few things that I have learned over the last 14 years. How to maintain passion. The excitement of doing what you love for a living is unmatched. But the daily grind and the business aspects can sometimes dull that spark. So it is crucial to keep the joy alive. And how do you do that? You set aside time for your personal projects, that remind you why you started this in the first place. I'll give you my personal example. Last couple of years with my commercial work and other projects that we've been working, I kind of went into a routine. There was a burnout of sorts that happened. So I decided to take a step back and I kept one Saturday aside, which, I call it as a collaborative Saturday, where I collaborate with artists, with friends, photographers to do something. And one of the things that I thought I will do was to see how I can capture the vibrations of sound. That whole experiment led to an amazing series of photographs, and that went back to the point where I had to go back to my science that I learned. I had to go back and unlearn a lot of things that I learned as a photographer. I had to understand what waves are, what frequencies are, and then bringing all this together with the technical aspects that I learned over the period of time, what I did was I managed to capture the vibrations of Om. I decided to experiment with different musicians. I tried Mozart, Ustad Zakir Hussain, Pandit Hari Prasad Chaurasya, and Pandit Ravi Shankar. All coming from a different instruments, different frequencies, different vibrations. And this series led to an amazing discovery of understanding the power of music on our mind, which we listen, but we don't realize how it affects us in the process of creating something beautiful. So, keeping that spark alive, taking some time off to create something that you love is very important. Second thing is work-life balance. When your work is something you love, you will not work for another day. But it is also easy to blur the lines between your professional life and your personal time. So establishing those clear boundaries is essential. Designating specific work hours, sticking to them, kind of brings in that discipline. Have a set routine. By doing so, you are more productive. You are much more relaxed, you're not stressed out, and it kind of brings in that discipline. So when you bring in this discipline, you are also setting aside some time for your family, for your friends to chill out, to enjoy that drink, go out, socialize. These are the things that kind of keep your mind fresh. So it is very important that we have that discipline set. And this applies to not just any creative field. This is across the board. Any profession that we had to draw those lines, and it is very important. Find activities related to your profession that help you to relax. Whether it could be reading, it could be hiking, it could be sports. Make sure that you have an outlet that allows you to switch off from that work mode. A very close friend of mine, award-winning filmmaker and a photographer, he once shared that given his profession over the last decade or two, he realized the value of being fit and healthy. And during a phase when he was going through a creative block and having, kind of a stressful time, he took up to running. And there's a very interesting podcast by Amog Varsha. So you should, listen to his interview on this, where he shares how he found this time that he spends running every day is a time that he calls as me time. It helps him to unwind, helps him to get away from all the hustle bustle. And it also makes, he starts his day with that and he feels fresh and that energy flows through the day. So for me, riding, I love riding. And it's been about 6-7 years since I took up riding as a time to unwind. I don't do it as often as I would love to do. Just on those open roads when you're riding, your mind, body, and soul are in sync because you have to be present when you're riding. You can't have distractions, right? So that is almost like a meditative state for me. So for me, it's riding. I love to get on my Harley and go on those long drives. 3 of us, me, my uncle Shrikant, and my nephew Sushen, just getting on the bike and just riding down, having a hearty breakfast and coming back. So find something that you love to do, which is not a hobby that's become a profession, something that you can unwind. The last thing I want to talk about, there are many topics, but this is something which I would like to emphasize on, is continuous learning. Staying inspired and motivated often comes from learning new things and teaching. Attend workshops, take courses, give workshops, give talks, share your life experiences. You'll be surprised that you learn so much. And sometimes when you're teaching, it also opens up a very new perspective. And in the process, you're learning. And this keeps your mind fresh. And when your mind is fresh, your brain cells are active, right? And that kind of sparks a completely new, fresh perspective. We were shooting sometime back. We were working with a tech company, and I was talking to the CEO and the co-founder. And today, he runs a multi-billion-dollar enterprise that is spread across the globe. He is constantly in meetings. He's jet-setting. He literally lives out of his bag. And I asked him, how do you unwind? He said, I make it a point to sit and code. He actually spends time looking at new projects to see the technical viability of those projects, those ideas to go to the market. And he says, that keeps me alert, keeps my mind thinking, and when I'm doing that is when I get fresh ideas. This coming from a person who runs a multi-billion-dollar company actually got me thinking. He's like, what am I complaining about? So I think that was a very powerful lesson I learned from this founder while interacting with him. So to summarize, turning your hobby into profession is a dream come true for many. But it is vital to maintain the balance to keep the joy alive. Set boundaries, find ways to unwind, and never stop learning. I hope that you found this podcast interesting, and thanks for tuning in. And keep your mojo flowing. This is Mayur signing off.